Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. Infiltration is a delicate art. To destroy a civilization from the inside, you must walk like them, talk like them, and think like them. Alien empires spend decades studying us before they send a spy. But what happens when their study material is corrupted? What happens when an alien intelligence agency downloads the entire library of Steam and assumes it is a collection of historical documentaries and training simulations? Today's story is about Unit 734, also known as Steve. He was sent to Earth to blend in. But he didn't learn from history books. He learned from Grand Theft Auto, Skyrim, and The Sims. He arrived expecting a world of quest markers, dialogue trees, and ragdoll physics. And the terrifying part? He fit right in. If you have ever walked into a room and forgot why you were there, like a cancelled action queue, smash that like button. And if you want to see a politician win an election by repeatedly crouching and jumping, subscribe and ring the bell. Loading terrain. Texture poppin' imminent. High Inquisitor Zar stood in the training dojo of the Zogian Empire. Unit 734, Zar barked. Report status. Unit 734, a shapeshifter currently molded into the form of a generic human male, default preset 1, snapped to attention. Status optimal. I have consumed 10,000 hours of Earth simulation data. I have mastered the customs of the open world. I am ready to infiltrate. Excellent, Zar said. Earth is a chaotic society. You must blend in. Do not draw attention to yourself. Act exactly as a human would. Understood, 734 said. I shall perform the teabag greeting ritual and steal a sweet roll. I do not know what that means, Zar admitted. But the simulations are accurate. Go. Destroy them from within. Unit 734, who named himself Steve, landed in Central Park, New York City. His mission: infiltrate the government and lower the planetary shields. Steve stood on the grass. He looked around. The graphics were incredible. 8K resolution. Ray tracing on the puddles. First objective, Steve processed. Acquire currency. He saw a person walking a dog. Steve sprinted towards them. But he didn't run normally. He wanted to move faster, so he bunny hopped, jumping repeatedly while sprinting because his training simulations Counter-Strike taught him this increased velocity. Up, up, up. He landed in front of the terrified dog walker. Steve stared blankly for 3 seconds, waiting for the dialogue options to load. Then he spoke. Greetings, NPC. I have a request. Deliver 10 wolf pelts to me, and I shall grant you 50 gold. The dog walker blinked. What? Are you on drugs? Steve analyzed the response. Option A, persuade. Option B, intimidate. Option C, attack. Steve chose persuade. But his speech stat was level 1. I am the Jarl of this district, Steve stated flatly. Move aside. Then Steve turned and walked directly into a tree. He didn't stop. He kept walking. His legs moved, but he slid in place against the bark. He was pathfinding incorrectly. The dog walker pulled out his phone. Dude, are you okay? You're walking into a tree. I am waiting for the collision box to reset, Steve explained without turning his head. He spent 5 minutes walking into the tree. Then he suddenly clipped through it and disappeared into the bushes. The dog walker posted the video to TikTok. Caption: This guy is glitching IRL. Hashtag Matrix hashtag NPC. He got 5 million views in an hour. Steve needed a job to infiltrate the government. He walked into a corporate office building. He didn't use the revolving door. He tried to jump through the glass window because he thought it was a breakable asset. Bonk. He bounced off. He tried again. Bonk. A security guard came out. Sir, you can't do that. Steve looked at the guard. A red health bar appeared in Steve's vision HUD. Halt, criminal scum, Steve said. I am with the guild. The guild? The guard asked. Steve crouched. Then stood up. Then crouched. Then stood up. He did this 20 times in rapid succession. The guard was confused. Are you doing squats? I am communicating friendly intent, Steve said. This is the universal sign of peace. Teabagging. The guard laughed. You're a weirdo, man. You want a job? We need a janitor. The last guy quit. Accept quest, Steve said instantly. Steve became the best janitor in the building. What? Because he didn't need to sleep. He didn't need to eat. He just entered his idle animation, standing perfectly still in a closet, staring at a broom for 8 hours a night. But his behavior was noticeable. When he mopped the floor, he would sometimes get stuck in a loop, mopping the same spot for an hour until someone nudged him. When he walked down the hallway, he would occasionally T-pose, arms extended horizontally, to assert dominance over the elevator. The employees loved him. "Look at Steve," they would say. "He's so avant-garde. He's a performance artist. He's critiquing the repetitive nature of capitalism." Steve wasn't critiquing anything. He was just lagging. His fame grew. The TikTok account Glitch Steve had 50 million followers. People started interviewing him. "Steve, what is your view on the economy?" a reporter asked. Steve stared for 10 seconds of awkward silence. "I used to be an adventurer like you," Steve said. "Then I took an arrow to the knee." The internet went wild. "He's so relatable," the comments screamed. "He speaks in memes. He is one of us." The political election was coming up. The people were tired of polished politicians. They wanted an outsider. They wanted Steve. They wrote his name on the ballot. Steve didn't campaign. He just stood on a stage, ran in circles, and jumped on top of the podium. "My platform is simple," Steve announced into the microphone. "All your base are belong to us. And the cake is a lie." The crowd cheered. They thought he was deep. Steve won by a landslide. He was now mayor of New York City. High Inquisitor Tsar watched the feed from the mothership. "It is working," Tsar whispered in disbelief. "He has infiltrated the highest levels of power. The humans, they love him. They cheer for his malfunctions. Are they stupid? They appear to value authenticity," the tactical officer said. "And Unit 734 is authentically broken. Proceed to Phase 2, Tsar ordered. Invasion. The Zogian fleet descended over New York. Massive ships blotted out the sun. The citizens panicked. They looked to their leader. They looked to Mayor Steve. Steve stood on the steps of City Hall. He looked at the alien fleet. His internal programming, the spy protocol, kicked in. Objective, lower shields. But his learned data, the video games, conflicted with it. Objective, defend the loot. Steve looked at the alien warlord, Tsar, who had beamed down to accept the surrender. Tsar was terrifying. Unit 734. Tsar bellowed. Disable the defenses. We are here to conquer. Steve looked at Tsar. Steve pulled out a crowbar. He found it in the janitor closet. Boss fight, Steve whispered. Steve didn't fight like a soldier. He fought like a speedrunner. He ran backwards. He jumped onto a lamppost, then onto a balcony, then clipped through a wall to appear behind Tsar. Tsar spun around. What sorcery is this? You are defying physics. Steve hit Tsar with the crowbar. Clang. Then Steve opened the console command. He shouted, up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. Nothing happened physically. But psychologically? It broke the aliens. The Zogian soldiers watched this human glitching through solid objects, running faster than a car by strafing sideways and shouting cheat codes. Commander, a Zogian soldier screamed. Our targeting computers cannot lock onto him. His hitbox is messed up. He is lagging too hard. He is manipulating the matrix. Tsar yelled. Retreat. This reality is unstable. If we stay, we might crash. The Zogians feared one thing above all else, a server wipe. Seeing Steve glitch made them think Earth was a corrupted simulation, a broken file. Pull out. Tsar ordered. This planet is buggy. It is not worth the bandwidth. The fleet warped away. They quarantined Earth not because we were dangerous but because we were early access and full of bugs. The crowd cheered. Steve stood there holding his crowbar. A reporter ran up to him. Mayor Steve, you saved us. What is your secret? How did you defeat the aliens? Steve looked at the camera. He smiled. And then he walked directly into a wall and kept walking, his legs moving endlessly, going nowhere. Loading next level, Steve said. Steve is still the mayor. He has an approval rating of 99%. He signed a law making double jumping legal, though no one can do it but him. He replaced the police sirens with the Sonic the Hedgehog ring sound. Humanity accepts him. We don't care that he's an alien spy. We don't care that he eats dry kibble and tries to loot garbage cans for potions. We love him because he represents the truth of the modern human condition. We are all just NPCs trying to find our pathfinding in a world that is glitching out. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Life is a game and we are probably playing on hard mode without a tutorial. If you have ever walked into a room and forgotten your quest objective, hit that like button. Comment below. Which video game logic would you want to have in real life? I want the rest 8 hours button. Subscribe. And watch out for invisible walls. Game saved.